नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Om. Dear friends, we are seeing the Mahabharata. We are in the beginning, Adi Parva, and we are seeing the episode where Drona is about to become the teacher of Kauravas and Pandavas. We are going to see that episode. Yesterday we saw that Drona went to Drupada. Drona was a very, very poor man, and Drona was a classmate of Drupada, who later became a king. And when they were studying under a common teacher named Agnivesha, they were reading under a common teacher named Agnivesha, they were very, very friendly. And Drupada was always saying, "Oh, when I become a king, you will be my equal, you will have all comforts, etc., etc." So with that confidence, Drona went and then he said, "Yeah, do you recognize me? I am your old friend." Then that Drupada ticked him off. He was so arrogant with his power. He just ticked him off and said, "How can you be my equal? You are such a poor man. There cannot be any friendship between such a poor man and a person like me. And the friendship can last only between equals. Friendship between you and me cannot last. You get lost. If you want, you can have some food and go away." So then Drona felt insulted. And he came away, and he was staying in his brother-in-law's place. In his brother-in-law means, I told you that Drona married the sister of Krupacharya. So he came to Krupacharya, who was already the teacher for these Kauravas and Pandavas, who was there in Hastinapura. And he was just staying in his house, almost incognito, almost like a nondescript, a sort of non-entity. So once it so happened that Dronacharya was passing by, and these Kauravas and Pandavas, they were also playing. The Kauravas and we know that Kauravas are 100 in number and Pandavas are 5. They were all playing. They were just playing, all boys. So when they were playing a particular game, Kridanto Vitaya Tatra, Veera Paryacharan Muda. So Vita, something like it could be some ring, or the commentators have not told very clearly whether it was a stick, a piece of stick, or whether it was a ring. They were not very sure, because some 5,000 years ago, we do not know what was the game they were playing and what were the instruments. So all these games, the games keep on changing. So 5,000 years ago, whatever was that piece with which they were playing, it could be something like a throw ball or something like that. It fell into a well, and there they could not do anything. The well was deep, and then they could not get into, and then they could not take it out. So they were just looking around. This Dronacharya also looked there. He just went there. "Oh, why are you, what are you doing?" "So we are looking for this, and then we are not able to retrieve." "Hey, what is this?" he said. You are all said to be kings, and you are all Kshatriyas, and you know archery and whatnot. How can you not take it out?" "I will take it out with my skill," he said. So he not only, he said, "I will also throw my ring into that well. I will also take it out." So he threw his own ring also into the well. And he shot some arrows, shot one into the other. The first arrow went and hit that particular piece which they had lost, that Vita. And then again, onto that another arrow, onto that another arrow. It became a rope-like thing, and then he pulled it out. He pulled it out and gave to them. Similarly, he also took out that ring, his own ring which was there, thrown into the water. He just put an arrow and then hooked it, and then took out that arrow, took out that ring. So it was such a fantastic thing, something which was that was not seen by these Kauravas and Pandavas earlier. They became so thrilled, and they said, "Who are you? Who are you?" They said, "Kumaran Stan Dronasya Anguliveshtanam." Anguliveshtanam, that ring, he just took it out. And then that Yudhishthira said, then he told Yudhishthira, I will take out all these things, but can you get me a job?" He told those boys, not to Yudhishthira in particular. Then Yudhishthira said, of course, he took initiative and then said, Yudhishthira is Dharmaraja. Dharmaraja took initiative and said, "Yes, we will report to our teacher. We will also tell our Bhishmacharya. Then Krupasya Anumate Brahman Bhiksham Apnuhi Shashwatim." That Krupacharya, we will tell Krupacharya, and with his permission you can teach us. Because Krupacharya is their teacher until then. So, okay, the Bhishma, the Drona also is happy because Krupacharya is his own brother-in-law. So, when this thing was taken out, they immediately reported the matter to Bhishmacharya. Bhishmacharya, he came personally. Yukta Rupa Sahi Guruhu Ityeva Manusintyacha. He immediately recognized, yeah, it has to be that student of that Parashurama only. And then Swayameva Susatkrutam. Swayameva, he went personally. The Bhishmacharya was so, you see, the greatness of a man. When you find a great teacher, you should not summon the teacher. You have to go to the teacher. Bhishma followed that great etiquette. Suppose I come across a great scholar. I may be a big man, I may be having a big job or something like that. I should not summon him. I have to go to him. So like that, if this Bhishmacharya, though he was actually the controlling even the king, he was such a powerful big man, he went personally to that poor man Dronacharya. He requested him, you be the teacher. You, by our great fortune, you are found. Then you please be the teacher of our kids. So he also accepted. And then he told his background also. He told his background, how he went, and then how he married the sister of Krupacharya, and how after that he didn't want to take up any job, because for a long time, as a Brahmana, he wanted to live a simple life. He wanted to live a simple life, though he was a great expert in martial arts and all, he wanted to lead a simple life. But then he was so poor that he was forced to go to the Drupada. And all that thing he tells, and I didn't want to take up any job, but then my poverty has forced me, Paropasevam papishtam nachakuryam dhanepsaya. He says, Paropasevam papishtam, paraseva. Paraseva means serving others. In olden days, Brahmins were not taking up jobs. They were basically living by teaching, mostly by teaching, and whatever was obtained by teaching, they survived by that. So, but some people, of course, because of poverty and all that, some people, they took up jobs also. So here it says, so happens, he says, Paropasevam papishtam, because you have to listen to whatever that man says. And if that man is a sinner, you will also take part in his sins. You like it or not, whether we like or not. Suppose my boss is a sinner, and I am working under him. So his sins, I will get part of his sins. That is what Dharma Shastra says. Suppose I am employed in some sort of job in a company, let me say, which is using all unfair means. I suppose nowadays, to give a modern example, suppose I am employed in a job in a company which is employing all unfair means to make money and then swindling people. So that is a sinful act. And that sin, part of it I am also getting. So a Brahmana was not supposed to take up such jobs. So, Paropasevam papishtam, that is, there is a Dharma Shastra, there is a saying also, that is, Yajamana krutam papam anna rupena tishtati. Whatever that boss, if he is a sinner, whatever he gives to us, that is also part of sin, and we are taking part in that sin. So that is what. Paropa nakuryam dhanepsaya. So here, of course, with good honor, in a very honorable manner, he was employed. Drona, he was in a very honorable manner, he was employed. At a later stage, he also tells Duryodhana that I am not obliged to you. I am obliged only to Bhishmacharya. I am kept in a very honorable position by Bhishmacharya. I am not obliged to you, he says. So that we are going to see later. So then he narrated all that story, and Bhishma, he said, yes, you please come down. Tatoham bhavatah kamam sishyai arthi gunanvitaihi. So this Dronacharya was accepted as a teacher. And thereafter, we come to an episode where Dronacharya, of course, Krupacharya also is there. It is not as though Krupacharya was totally replaced. Dronacharya was there, Krupacharya was also there, but Drona became more important because he was a great, very great archer, trained by Parashurama. Then, so the Kauravas and Pandavas, they started learning not only archery. This Dronacharya was an expert not only in archery, but in sword fight and in mace. Mace means Gada Yuddha. Though he was a thin-looking Brahmana, he was also an expert in Gada Yuddha, he was also an expert in sword fight and all these things, and also chariots and whatnot. So then, when he became the teacher, then he assembled all the boys, and then he also said, At the end of the training, I have got a special Guru Dakshina, I want a special Guru Dakshina. Who is prepared to give that Guru Dakshina? So he said, there is a very tough task. Who will achieve that? Then all the people, they kept quiet because they didn't know what was that tough task. Without thinking twice, Arjuna said, yes, I will do it. I will do whatever you say. So then, Arjunasya tatas sarvam pratijajñe, I promise, I am going to do. Then Dronacharya felt very happy. Dronacharya, you see, Dronacharya is strong enough to challenge the Drupada. Because Dronacharya is such a great warrior, he is an expert in all the Shastras, and Drupada does not know all that. He could have himself challenged, or he could have asked even his son Ashwathama to challenge. But that was not Brahmana Dharma. Only a Kshatriya has to challenge a Kshatriya. And not only that, Drona's idea is only to teach a lesson to Drupada, not to kill him or anything like that, just to teach him a lesson. So that is what we will see later. So now Dronacharya was so happy that one student immediately came out and without thinking twice, he said, promised, yes, I am going to do. Then he hugged that boy and he became very happy. So like that it went on, the teaching, it went on. And we also see here that we know that another very, very important character in Mahabharata is Karna. So when Drona became the teacher of these Kauravas and Pandavas, not only these 105 people, but many other people from royal families. You see, when a great teacher is, it is almost like a one-man university. In olden days, when there was a great teacher, we see that in our Upanishads also, we find some teacher like Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya, he was called a Mahashala. Mahashala means a person with a great, huge campus. Mahashala, Shala actually means a campus. A huge campus, which means probably he was Mahashala. They were the people who were having at least 1,000 students. So it was almost like a school or a university. So in olden days it was like that. So with this Dronacharya also, lot many people, Vrushnayascha, Andhakaschaiva, Nana, Deshyascha Parthivaha, various cities, various people, all the kings, royal, the princes from various places, they all came and then they were also learning. And even it so happened that Sutaputrascha Radheya Gurum Dronamiyattada, Sutaputraha, this Radheya, we know that if you recall, Kunti got a son through the sun god. How, if you recall what happened, there was a sage called Durvasa. That Durvasa once went to Kunti Bhoja's house. Kunti Bhoja is the father the person who adopted Kunti as his daughter. So that Kunti Bhoja's house, that girl Kunti was growing. And this Durvasa, very hot-tempered sage, he went to their house, and it so happened that this girl, young girl, she served him quite well, and then very, very in a dedicated manner. He was so pleased, and he saw her future, that Durvasa is a very, very great sage. In fact, Durvasa is a man who is, if you see all the stories in our Puranas, he was a person who was held in very high esteem. He is portrayed as a very, very angry man, but he is angry to test people. He wants to test people's sincerity. So this sage, he foresaw what was going to happen to her, and he gave her a mantra. And with that mantra, he could invite any god. And that god would come and give her a son. So probably he saw that Panduraja was going to die, and then this Vamsha, this clan has to survive, and so he gave that mantra. And out of curiosity, even before her marriage, she just wanted to test that mantra and called that sun god. Sun god said, and he came and said, no, the mantra is so powerful, I can't help, I have to give you a baby. So he gave a baby, and that baby was Karna. And that Karna, this girl was so scared. Girl means probably 16, 17-year-old girl, attained some, naturally when she gave birth to a baby means she was at least of that age. And she was so scared of what people would talk about her, and then she left it in the water. And then that basket, it actually went down the river, and it was seen by one person, a charioteer. And that charioteer picked up that boy, and then he raised him as his own son. And that man is Karna. And that Karna is a man who was born with a natural body armor. And the sun god, when he gave the child, natural, he was born with ear kundala, sahaja kundala means ear rings, and also the body armor, a shining body armor, golden body armor. So he was such a boy. And the boy also grew up. He was also very powerful, like as powerful as Arjuna and maybe much stronger. So that boy, he also came and then he also became a student. He also became a student of Dronacharya. Duryodhana Spardhamanastu Parthena. And it so happened that Karna could have become a friend of Pandavas also. Had he become a friend of Pandavas, then this war would not have been there, Mahabharata war would not have been there. But unfortunately, Karna was a very jealous person. Karna, we are going to see later. Later, we are going to see that Bhishma tells him, because of the fault of your mother, you got this jealousy. Because the birth, it was not according to dharma, in the sense that it becomes dharma only when after marriage a woman has to give birth to a child. Only after marriage a woman has to give birth to a child. And before marriage she has given birth to that child. And it was not in accordance with dharma. Because of the dharma lopa, you have got this weakness of character. So that is what Bhishma later, at some point later, he will say about Karna. So this Karna was always jealous, and he was always jealous of Arjuna. And he always wanted to compete, and then he always wanted to, he had that enmity with Arjuna, right from the beginning. Without knowing that he was, at that time he didn't know, that he was the son of Kunti. So, but anyway, he became a friend of Duryodhana. So we see that the Duryodhana and Karna were already friends, even at the time of training. Usually what we see, we have an impression that when all the training was over, and when that demonstration was being given by all these Kauravas and Pandavas, Arjuna displays all his skills and he shows so many astras and whatnot. And thereafter, when the entire hall, the entire amphitheater was so full, and the amphitheater was full of cheer for Pandavas, then at that time suddenly this Karna comes, and then Karna suddenly challenges Arjuna and displays again all the skills. And there Duryodhana goes and embraces that Karna. So that is what we find in some later stories or in films. That is how in films it is represented. But in Mahabharata we see that Duryodhana and Karna were already friends. Duryodhana and Karna, they knew right at that time. Duryodhanam samashritya so avamanyata pandavan, says Mahabharatam. And so it so happened that all these people, they started learning all these things. And particularly this Dronacharya was very, very fond of Arjuna, because Arjuna was one man whom he wanted to train him. He wanted to pour all his knowledge into that Arjuna. Of course, he had his own son, Ashwathama. He had his own son into whom he poured all his knowledge. And apart from his son, the next man was Arjuna. And quite often Duryodhana, this Dronacharya says that I like the Arjuna more than my son. That is what he says. More than my son, I like that boy Arjuna. So that is what he says. So this he trained so well that it so happened, the Mahabharata describes one small incident where when Arjuna was having his evening meal, the light went off. Some breeze, and then in the olden days there were only lamps. There was not electricity, nothing. There were some old lamps. That lamp was put out. When the lamp was put out, Arjuna was already eating his food. Naturally, the hand went into his mouth. Naturally, he finished it, and then suddenly an idea struck to him. By abhyasa means by practice. See, I am able to eat it in darkness. How? Because my hand is trying to go into my mouth. So similarly, by practicing, I can do anything. So he started practicing in the night also. And Dronacharya was very, very happy that the boy was practicing even in the night. So he told all the secrets of Dhanurveda, all the secrets of martial arts to this Arjuna. So that is how it was. And meanwhile, this Bhima, by virtue of his strength, he became a great expert in mace fight. Mace means gada. And again, Dharmaraja also was a great man. And again, one boy, at that time, we come across this episode of a person called Ekalavya. Most of us, we know the story of Ekalavya. So, tato nishadharajasya hiranyadhanushasutah Ekalavyo maharaja dronam abhyajagamaha. So, what happened was, in those days, the kings were, you see, right now, if you want the secrets of nuclear weapons, the nuclear weapon countries are not going to share all those secrets to all other people, all other countries. So, like that, any knowledge is preserved in a very, very careful manner. Why are we having so many patents and all that? So, any knowledge is preserved. So, in olden days also it so happened that only Kshatriyas and some other people, they were the other Dvijas, Dvija category type of people. Dvija means Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. So, these are the three types who were taught, and particularly not a person who was a tribal man. So, this Nishada Raja, Nishada is a tribal person, a hunter. Nishada was a basically hunting tribe, people who stayed in jungles, people who shot animals and all that. So, that sort of thing. So, they lived by hunting, and then they used to kill forest animals, they used to get the animals, and then they used to sell flesh, and then flesh means those animals' flesh, or maybe the other products like nails, or skin, and skin of deer, or skin of maybe some bear and all that, and then they used to make a living. So, that is what we see, these Nishadas. So, that particular boy, he came to Dronacharya. He came to Dronacharya, and then he asked him to be taken as a student. And Dronacharya, according to the laws, according to the rules of his time, he could not take. According to the rules, na satam pratijagraha naishadiriti chintayan. Because Dronacharya, he doesn't have any freedom. Dronacharya is an employee of Bhishmacharya, and he has to follow the rules of those times. So, according to that rules, he could not take a tribal man. So, he just said, no, I cannot teach you, you can go away. Then that man, that boy was so, he was having so much of regard for Dronacharya, that he still went, he touched the feet of Dronacharya. Satu Dronasya Shirasa Padau Gruhya Parantapaha. So, he went, he touched the feet of Dronacharya. I need your blessings. So, he said, and then he went back to his forest, and then made a sort of an idol of Dronacharya. Krutva Dronam Mahimayam. He took out some clay, and then he made a clay, not model, Dronacharya. With that clay, he made the replica of Dronacharya, and he was bowing before that, and then he was practicing. Just calling himself the student of Dronacharya, he started practicing, and he became a great expert. He had such skill, natural skill, and without great teaching also, he became an expert. So, that is the reason why we say Ekalavya Shishya. Ekalavya Shishya is a common usage. Ekalavya Shishya means, I know that so-and-so is a great man. Maybe I have heard or I have seen how he does. This Ekalavya also might have seen Dronacharya practicing. So, he practiced in the same manner. So, that is what is called Ekalavya Shishya. Not directly studying under a teacher, but taking a teacher as a sort of role model and then training myself. That is what Ekalavya did. And he became so great, he became such a sharp shooter that once it so happened that these Kauravas and Pandavas, they went into the jungle for hunting. In those days, kings used to go for hunting. Why? Because hunting was an opportunity, hunting was a time where they got an opportunity to shoot a moving object. You see, there is no point in shooting a stationary target. Even in shooting practice, we see that army and the police forces, etc., they are trained to shoot moving targets. If there is just a target kept, and then if you are just taking aim and shooting, then that is not useful in the war, in the battle. So, you should be able to hit a moving target. So, kings used to go for hunting only to get trained in hitting the moving targets. So, these people, they went. And then when they went, naturally when the boys, all the princes, they go out, naturally all the cooks and then various other attendants, they go. And they also said they have taken some dogs. A dog was also there. It was a hunting dog, we know. So, this dog also went. The dog was moving ahead. And the dog, when it moved ahead, it just barked. It just barked when it saw this Ekalavya. Ekalavya was there in some corner of the forest, and he was practicing. When he was practicing, this dog went and barked. When the dog barked, or probably it was almost pouncing on him, we do not know. He immediately shot 7 arrows, just 7 arrows into that open mouth. When the dog was barking, into the mouth of that barking dog, he shot 7 arrows in such a swiftness. And when the dog became meek, and then it ran back to the Pandavas and Kauravas. And when they saw that there were 7 arrows shot straight into that mouth, then they just went near and then inquired as to, who are you? Then that boy said, Ekalavya said, I am the son of so-and-so, I am the son of that tribal chief. And who is your teacher? My teacher is Dronacharya. Then all these people, they felt rather insulted. They felt that, we are all our skills are no match to this boy's skills. So this boy is so skilled. So then Arjuna, one day later, after coming back, he was telling his guru, oh sir, you told me that you are going to make me the greatest student. But unfortunately, there is another man who is calling yourself your student, and then you have trained him, you have given him more secrets, you have told him more secrets. Then Drona he is helpless. So he says, no, I have not taught him. No, he didn't say anything. Okay, if you show me who is that boy. Then Drona and Arjuna, they go again to that place. Drona, he goes there because of his closeness with the teacher. Arjuna said that because of his closeness. Oh sir, you have been telling me I am going to make you the greatest archer, etc. But there is another more skilled person. So Drona reflected for a while, and then he said, okay, come along, let us go. And then he went to that forest, and he said, Muhurtamevatam Dronas Chintayitva Vinishchayam. So when they went into the forest, they saw this boy. This boy Ekalavya was practicing. And again Drona went and then said, yes, who are you? Then immediately after seeing him, that boy came running and touched the feet of this Dronacharya. When it came and touched the feet of this Dronacharya, then Dronacharya, asked him to rise up. Oh, who are you? Okay, I am your student, etc., etc. Then a very strange thing happens, a very strange thing. And of course, it becomes a slightly small controversy in the character of Drona. Drona again is a helpless man. We are going to see that Drona is going to ask for his right thumb. We will see it tomorrow. And that man also, very promptly, he cuts off his right thumb and gives it as Guru Dakshina. So we will see that incident tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.